Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Lindabeth Binkley, the oboe professor at Central Michigan University. I'm here to help you prepare the 2025 MSBOA High School All-State Etude. So I'm going to do a little performance of the Etude first, and then I'm going to do different segments of the Etude and kind of talk about the tricky things that are involved that will maybe give you some ideas on how to practice it and some ways to navigate some of those issues. All right, let's get to work. So the first thing I want you to do is divide this into sections according to where those repeat signs fall. And then practice each section individually. Don't try to practice it from start to finish. Just work on it section by section. A lot of material repeats, which is helpful. And it'll allow you to focus on just some of the little details. So the first detail we're going to talk about is in the main theme, the section A, the first 16, 12 bars, whatever it is, the first section. Usually a minuet is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with 1 being emphasized. But in this etude, it's beat 3. So your brain has to switch to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The accents are in piano, which means they don't have to be zingers. They just need to feel weighted. And every note that comes after that accent needs to sound less, including the last one. And that's where a lot of people will struggle, because what most people will want to do is this. Because we're used to feeling 1. Can't do that in this etude. Put the emphasis on 3. It's hard to do. You have to really listen and think about it, but it's possible. Second thing that you need to worry about is beat 2 when the notes are tied. So this little figure, that has to be very clear and in time. So do it slowly. Put it on quarter notes. This is at 168. And play it first slowly without the ties. Keeping the accent though. Don't forget the accent. That has to still be there too. Read is spitty today. Sorry about that. So you do that first and then put the tie back in. up and get it back into a faster feel. Then we'll talk about the turn that is right there in that penultimate bar, and I'll do that in the next clip. So let's talk about the turn, or grupetto as it's known in music. And this occurs between the D and the F right before the repeat sign, and it happens again when this section repeats. The tricky thing is it's a very fast tempo, so it's a real flourishy thing, and you don't have a lot of time to execute it. So the best way to think about it is putting the notes that you need to play, D, E, D, C, D, F, into a quintuplet figure, meaning 5 notes. You're going to try to squeeze 5 notes into that quarter note beat. Okay? So the notes that you're going to play of the turn are, make sure you go to C natural, not C sharp, and then you'll land on the F. Not going to tongue it because, trust me, there's not enough time for you to tongue it. You got to slur into it. I was articulating it just to make sure you heard that the F was the note I was going to. Okay, so we figured out the notes. We know we want to play a group of 5. Now we just have to get our fingers coordinated. So put your metronome on an 8th note pulse, super slow, because we're just practicing this out of context. We just have to figure out how this is going to work. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group the 5 into a group of 2 plus 3. Okay? So think of it as 2 8th notes and a triplet at this speed. And then I'll land on the F. Until I feel really comfortable. Then I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to play 3 notes, then 2 notes. And why I'm doing that is because the C to D to F is the gnarliest part. C, half whole to left hand F, or forked F, depending on what kind of oboe you have. If you have an oboe that has this key, certainly use it. If you don't, you're going to have to use forked F. Okay? And I'll practice that combination. Until it's really smooth. Okay? Once I feel confident I've got it, then I'll start doing it at a tempo where I'm trying to put all 5 on one note. So it's probably going to be a little bit slow, well, a lot slower as I try to figure that out. And it's always a good idea to say it before you play it. So here's my quarter note click. And now I have to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Just 5 even notes. And then your mission, should you choose to accept it, is you just keep speeding up that metronome until you get to a point where you can get it to where it really needs to be. And this is still not quite as fast as it could go because it'll sound pretty frantic on camera. But so this is at 178 at a quarter note, just to give you some perspective on how fast the turn needs to be. It's faster than that actually, but you get the idea. And again, to really feel confident with this, your fingers have to be very relaxed and very close to the keys, and don't use a lot of pressure. Okay? Now, if you are really struggling with this, and this is really difficult, there is something you can do to kind of cheat a little bit and simplify it. And if that is what you need to do, I would do it. I would do it because it'll keep, if you do this little cheat thing, it'll help the note flow a little better. just do two little grace notes. C, D, F. Okay, now so those are your options. Go for the turn, but if you really have if you're struggling with it, do the two little notes, and at least that won't interrupt the flow. Okay? Whew, that's the toughest part of this etude, I think, is doing that turn. All right, let's talk about the B section. Pretty straightforward. You're going to keep the same idea, a little bit louder. You've got some new slurred passages. You've got some different dynamics. Make sure you observe those. Where you see the forte and the nice long line of eighth notes that descends, stay full all the way through them, and don't diminuendo until the line starts to go back up again. Okay, that's really important. But the thing that's really interesting about this is the restatement of the melody. It is slightly different than the first time that you played that at the very beginning of the etude. Make sure you notice in that last line, the line that has the fine in it, that in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bar, there's a different slur, okay? There should also be an accent over that first E, because I don't know why that's missing, but it should be there. So make sure you do this. When you play it the first time, earlier, it's okay, so that's a big deal. And the last two notes should be short. They should have dots over them. I love this next section. I call this section C. And I don't know why I like it so much, other than when you get it right, it's like a super cool feeling when you play it. Because it really is, again, messing with this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 feeling, where now we've got 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, but groups of 4. I mean, it's just really funky and super fun. But these arpeggios can be a bugaboo if you do not have clean fingers. So, quarter note metronome pulse. Play it through slowly. Don't even worry about the dynamics. You're just trying to figure out where are my fingers going to have trouble. And then do some things where you change the rhythms. So when I practice this passage, I do things like this. Kind of a jazz version. I also will do this. And put a little space between every grouping as I look for the fingers. I will also do, what's another good variation? That's another variation. So I'll come up with as many kooky ways and different rhythms, always playing the same articulation, to get my fingers to agree and to all move at the same time, okay? Once you do that, it becomes easier to get to it being and so on and so forth, okay? Then you want to make it feel like it's grouped rhythmically. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That feeling, that be-da-da-da, be-da-da-da, be-da-da-da-da-da. You don't have to accent it because the articulation will do it for you. Just keep your fingers light and keep them moving. Let your air guide your fingers. Don't try to pull the sound out with your fingers, okay? And it'll be super fun. I hope you have fun practicing it. I love practicing that section. Okay, so finally, we are at section D. And D is awesome because all of a sudden we're back into normal minuet feel. Ba-da-dee-da-da-da-da-dee, ba-da-dee-da-da-da-da-dee-dum, ba-da-dee-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-dee-da-da-da-da-dee-dum. It has that nice, good old-fashioned 1, 2, 3 feel. So make sure you bring that out. go for the sforzando and make sure it's not a forte piano. You land on it with some weight, but you stay full so that you can sing up to the high D and through all those eighth notes, so that when you get to the next bar and you see that low D flat, low C coming at you, you're like, not a problem, I'm already open. I can just relax and it should pop out. So go for that. And then, because Barret likes to tease us, he goes back into our bum, which is the material that you already learned and you already did, right? So that's kind of cool. And when that happens, that's like the magical Barret moment. Make a good piano, and the people listening will be super impressed, okay? And then you just take the DC, and you got it done. Play the fine. Whew, it's a lot, but you can do it. So I have one last little bit of advice, and that has to do with breathing. This etude is a really tricky little bugger when you string all those sections together, because when you record it, you have to play the whole thing through without stopping and take the DC. That means you need a good breathing plan. So take some time to figure out when you need to breathe in, when you need to breathe out. And it's going to be different than when you practiced it as sections. That's the key. You have to know what it's going to feel like when you're playing this without stopping. So be aware that part of your final step when you're preparing your audition is to figure out, okay, now I know the whole thing. I got to play it from top to bottom and take the DC. How's my body going to react to this? Okay? Mark in when you need to breathe in, mark in when you need to breathe out, and treat those breaths as part of the phrase. Okay? Think of them as a musical thing, not a life or death thing. The other thing I can offer is that when I have to breathe in and out quickly, I keep the reed on my bottom lip. So if you watch what I'm doing, okay. So I don't know if you can see that on the video. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I like to leave the reed on my bottom lip and then breathe in or out that way. The other helpful thing with this is to sing it with the metronome on at the tempo that you want to play it, whether it's 72 or a little bit less, and breathe where you need to breathe as you sing, right? So in other words, if I try to do like from the B section, and this is 72 to about half, so and so on and so forth. I'm not singing the right pitches because it's not important that you do, but it is important that you have sound coming out so you can feel your air leaving. Okay? So give that a try. I hope that helps. I wish you all the best. Above all, be musical, play with a great sound, and play with intention. And everything will go well, even if it's a little under tempo. Good luck, everyone.